What if the single most powerful thing standing between you and a devastating fall has absolutely nothing to do with anything you can buy, install, or order to your front door? What if it has nothing to do with those grip socks sitting in your drawer, or the grab bars mounted in your bathroom, or any of the balance gadgets demonstrated on late-night television? Those things have their place, but they are secondary. They are patches applied to a problem that lives somewhere far more fundamental. The real protection, the one that works from the inside out, every single moment of every single day, is already built into your body. It is already yours. You are simply not using it the way you were designed to. And today, that changes. I am Dr. James Mitchell, and for more than 2 decades, I have worked clinically with men and women in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, helping them understand why their bodies began failing them in ways that felt sudden, but were anything but. The most common story I hear goes something like this. A patient sits across from me, sometimes shaken, sometimes embarrassed, and they say, "I was just walking through my kitchen. I was not doing anything unusual. I was not rushing. I was not distracted. I just fell." And every time I hear that, I have to tell them the same difficult truth. The fall did not happen because of the kitchen floor. It did not happen because of a moment of carelessness. It happened because of a slow, invisible change in the way they had been walking for months or possibly years before that moment. A change so gradual that nobody around them noticed it. A change they themselves had no idea was happening. That silent shift in their walking mechanics had been building the conditions for that fall long before the fall ever occurred. Today, I am going to show you exactly what that pattern looks like, explain in clinical terms why it is so dangerous, and give you a single mechanical correction that you can begin applying with your very next step. Then I am going to walk you through 5 targeted exercises that will make that correction feel not like an effort, but like a natural, automatic part of how you move through the world. No equipment, no gym, just the information your body has needed and has not been given. Let me describe something to you, and I want you to listen carefully because there is a good chance you're going to recognize yourself in this description. Picture someone walking down the hallway of their own home. The hallway they have walked through thousands of times. Their steps are noticeably shorter than they used to be, perhaps half the length of what they were 10 years ago. Their feet are traveling only millimeters above the floor surface with each stride, barely clearing the ground, skimming forward in a low sliding motion rather than lifting and landing with deliberate contact. Their upper body is angled slightly forward, their center of gravity pitched ahead of their feet, and their eyes are fixed downward on the floor as though they are watching for danger. Their arms hang at their sides with almost no swing. They are moving carefully. They believe they are being cautious. They believe this is the safe way to move, now that balance has become something they have to think about. This pattern has a clinical name. It is called shuffle gait, and it is one of the most dangerous movement patterns I observe in adults past 60. What makes it so insidious is precisely that it masquerades as caution. It feels protective. It feels controlled. In reality, it is setting the body up for exactly the kind of fall it is trying to prevent. Here is the clinical mechanics of why. When the foot travels this close to the floor with each step, the margin for error becomes essentially zero. A rug edge that is a 1/4 inch proud of the floor, a door threshold with a slight rise, a tiny crack in a sidewalk, a dried leaf on a path. Any one of these becomes a catastrophic tripwire for a foot that has no clearance above the ground. And because the body's center of gravity is already pitched forward in that shuffling posture, the moment a toe catches anything, the physics of the fall are already in motion. The brain does not have time to react. The protective step that would normally save you cannot be generated fast enough. The fall is complete before the conscious mind has registered that it began. But the danger goes deeper than the mechanics of the stride itself. Shuffle gait is a symptom of something happening inside the body at a muscular and neurological level. The hip flexors, the muscles whose primary job is to lift the leg with each stride, have progressively weakened through underuse. The glutes, which drive the push-off phase of walking and provide the posterior stability your body needs, have become increasingly inactive. And the neural pathway, the communication channel between your brain and your lower limbs that coordinates the precise timing of every muscle involved in walking, has slowed and degraded from years of being given less and less demanding work to do. The nervous system adapts to what it is asked to do. When it is only asked to shuffle, it optimizes for shuffling. And a body optimized for shuffling is a body that is one rug edge away from a hospital visit. I want to tell you clearly and without qualification that every single one of these deteriorations is reversible. The hip flexors can be rebuilt, the glutes can be reactivated, the neural pathway can be retrained, and it begins with one specific correction to where and how your foot meets the ground. The correction is called the heel strike, and it is not a new technique or a therapeutic innovation. It is a return to the exact biomechanical pattern your skeleton was architecturally designed to produce. When you walk with a natural, unguarded gait, as you did in your younger years, your heel makes contact with the ground first with every single stride. Your body weight then travels forward in a smooth, sequential roll through the arch of the foot, across the ball, and finally pushes off through the toes to generate the momentum of the next step. It is one of the most efficient, stable, and mechanically elegant movement patterns the human body produces. And it is the pattern that the vast majority of people over 60 have gradually and silently abandoned. What aging and progressive muscle weakness do to this pattern is predictable and measurable. The heel strike disappears first. The foot begins landing flat, or in more advanced cases, toe first. The rolling motion through the foot stops, the push-off diminishes, the stride shortens, the foot stops lifting, and with each passing week of this altered pattern, the very muscles that would produce a proper heel strike grow weaker because they are never being recruited. The pattern feeds itself. The weakness deepens the shuffle, and the shuffle deepens the weakness. Correcting this requires one deliberate adjustment. With every step you take from this moment forward, reach your heel slightly further forward than habit currently allows, and let it be the first point of contact with the ground. Feel your body weight transfer forward through the foot in that rolling sequence. Let your toes push off behind you as the step concludes. And critically, lift your foot off the floor before you extend it forward. Do not slide it. Raise it, reach it forward, and land on the heel. When this happens correctly, the effects move through your entire body in a cascade. Your stride length increases naturally, restoring the momentum and mechanical stability that shortened steps undermine. Your foot clears the floor properly, eliminating the vulnerability to surface irregularities that shuffle gait creates. Your posture self-corrects because the heel strike shifts your center of mass back and upward, pulling you out of that forward-pitched position that made recovery from a misstep impossible. And your hip flexors, glutes, and core are suddenly being recruited to do real work again, which initiates the process of rebuilding the strength that genuine fall prevention is actually built upon. One correction, one change to where your foot meets the floor, and it sets off a chain of adaptations throughout the entire system with every single step you take. Now let me give you the 5 exercises that will make this correction feel like second nature rather than conscious effort. The first exercise is the conscious heel strike walk. For anyone who has been shuffling for an extended period of time, the motor program for a proper heel strike has genuinely faded. Neural pathways that are not regularly used weaken over time, just as muscles do. You cannot simply decide to walk differently and have the new pattern feel natural immediately. The brain needs repetition in order to encode a movement pattern as the new default. This exercise provides exactly that. Find a clear hallway in your home or any open space where a wall is within arm's reach. Stand at one end. If you want additional security, place one hand lightly against the wall. Begin walking and give your complete conscious attention to a single thing: your heel. With every step, reach that heel slightly forward and allow it to be the first point of contact with the floor. Feel the weight rolling forward through the arch. Feel the toes completing the push-off at the back. Take 10 steps forward, turn using small controlled steps, and walk back 10 steps. That is one set. Perform 3 sets with 30 seconds of rest between each. The single most important instruction for this exercise is to walk slowly, significantly more slowly than feels natural. When you walk at your habitual pace, momentum and stored motor patterns take over and the old shuffle reasserts itself automatically. When you walk slowly, your conscious brain governs each step individually. You are reprogramming the neural pathway, not simply exercising the legs. Think of this as brain training that happens to involve your feet. Once the heel strike begins to feel reliable on your current floor surface, practice it briefly on a different one. Moving from carpet to hardwood and back again forces your nervous system to adapt and generalize the movement pattern across varying conditions, which is precisely the neurological flexibility that real-world safety demands. The second exercise is the high knee march. Shuffle gait systematically disables the hip flexors over time, and it does so silently. These muscles are responsible for one specific and critical function: lifting your leg high enough with each stride that your foot clears whatever surface lies beneath it. When the hip flexors weaken, foot clearance decreases. When foot clearance decreases, an obstacle does not need to be large or prominent to cause a trip. It needs to be almost nothing at all. A half-inch rise in a door threshold becomes sufficient. A slightly rumpled rug becomes sufficient. This exercise directly targets the hip flexors and begins restoring the lifting capacity that clearance depends on. Stand behind a sturdy chair with both hands resting on the back for stability. March in place, lifting your right knee upward toward your chest as high as you can comfortably manage, then lowering it back to the floor with deliberate, controlled slowness before lifting the left. That is one complete repetition. Perform 15 repetitions per side at a slow and deliberate pace throughout. Keep your torso upright as you march. Do not lean backward as the knee rises. That compensation is common and it transfers the work away from the hip flexor and into the lower back, which defeats the purpose entirely. The lifting effort must originate at the hip and attend just as carefully to the lowering phase as you do to the lift. Controlling the descent of your foot back to the floor is not a passive movement. It requires active eccentric muscle engagement, and it is that eccentric strength that your leg relies upon when it accepts your full body weight with each real walking step. As this exercise becomes more comfortable, begin practicing it while moving slowly forward through your hallway. Lift each knee before stepping, then land your heel first as the foot comes down. You have now combined this exercise with the first one, and what you are practicing is the closest approximation of correct walking mechanics that can be trained in a home environment. The third exercise is the stride length walk. One of the most measurable consequences of shuffle gait is the progressive shortening of stride length. In many of my patients, it has reduced to half or less of what it was a decade earlier. A shortened stride produces a specific mechanical instability. It reduces forward momentum, disrupts the natural rhythm of weight transfer between the feet, and compresses the center of gravity into that compromised forward lean that leaves no margin for recovery. Reclaiming stride length is not cosmetic. It is a functional safety intervention. Place 2 pieces of tape on the floor of your hallway, approximately 18 inches apart. Stand at one end and begin walking, aiming to land your heel at or just beyond the second piece of tape with each stride. Walk 10 full strides in this manner, turn carefully, and return. Perform 2 complete passes through the hallway, focusing entirely on heel contact and step length with every stride. Do not lunge or overreach. An exaggerated step is not the goal, and reaching too far forward can itself be destabilizing. The goal is a natural, deliberate extension of your stride back toward a range that provides genuine mechanical stability. If 18 inches is too ambitious initially, begin with 12. The specific distance is secondary. The daily habit of consciously reaching that heel forward with intention is what matters. As the weeks progress, move the tape markers outward by a small increment. Most people are genuinely surprised by how quickly stride length responds once the nervous system is given consistent and intentional training. The fourth exercise is the slow motion walk. When we walk at our everyday pace, we are not walking consciously. We are walking habitually. The brain is operating on stored movement programs, and the body is running on momentum. For someone relearning a safer walking pattern, this reliance on habit is the primary obstacle. The slow motion walk removes that reliance entirely by removing speed from the equation. Stand at one end of your hallway and begin walking at the absolute slowest pace you can physically manage. Each individual step should take 3 to 4 full seconds to complete. Lift the foot deliberately. Hold it briefly in the air. Reach the heel forward. Lower it to the floor with complete control. Feel the weight transferring through the arch. Allow the toes to push off. Begin the next step. Walk the full length of the hallway in this manner. Turn carefully and return. Perform 2 complete passes. This exercise will feel strange, and it will feel more difficult than expected. Slow motion walking is neurologically demanding precisely because it removes all of the shortcuts that habitual movement depends upon. Every moment of instability you notice is your balance system actively recalibrating. Every small correction your ankle makes is your nervous system rebuilding its responsiveness. The wobbles are not a sign that something is wrong. They are the evidence that something important is happening. Embrace the difficulty. It is the entire point. Once you feel steady in this movement near the wall, try performing 2 or 3 slow motion steps with your eyes briefly closed. This elevates the proprioceptive challenge significantly and accelerates the neurological adaptation that is the true goal of this exercise. The 5th exercise is the obstacle step over. Everything we have trained so far has occurred in a clear, controlled environment. Real life does not offer that. Real life offers rugs with curling edges, door thresholds with slight rises, electrical cords crossing paths, and garden hoses across walkways. For someone with reduced foot clearance, each of these represents a genuine threat. This exercise trains the brain and the legs to execute the complete protective sequence when an obstacle is encountered. Detect it, generate adequate lift, clear it completely, land with stability on the other side. That 4-step sequence is what your nervous system must be able to execute in a fraction of a second when real life demands it. Place something soft and lightweight on the floor of your hallway. A rolled towel, a pool noodle, anything approximately 4 to 6 inches in height. Stand a few feet back from it with a wall or chair within reach. Approach at a controlled pace. As you near the obstacle, deliberately lift your leading foot well before you reach it, high enough to clear it with comfortable margin, and step over completely. Then bring the trailing foot over as well. Walk several steps beyond, turn carefully, and return for another pass. Perform 5 passes in each direction for 10 total crossings. The most critical instruction here is not to rush the approach. Slow down as you near the obstacle. Lift the foot early before you reach the object, not as you are reaching it. Execute the clearance with intention rather than reaction. You are training your brain to anticipate and respond to obstacles proactively, which is precisely the opposite of what shuffle gait produces. As this becomes reliable, vary the height of the obstacle slightly over successive sessions, and eventually practice it while carrying something light in one hand. That is the condition under which real-world trips most commonly occur, when attention is divided and the hands are occupied. Before you begin any of these exercises, I want to speak to you directly about safety, because your well-being is the entire reason this channel exists. If you have undergone a hip or knee replacement recently, if you are being treated for a foot or heel condition, or if your physician has placed any restriction on your weight-bearing activity, please consult your doctor or physical therapist before attempting these movements. Your individual clinical situation may require modifications that I cannot anticipate from here. Always practice within reach of a wall, countertop, or sturdy chair. Wear footwear with a non-slip sole, or practice in bare feet on a surface you trust completely. Never rush through any of these exercises regardless of how comfortable they begin to feel. And if at any point you experience sharp pain, dizziness, chest discomfort, or any sensation that does not feel right, stop immediately, sit down safely, and rest. There is no movement in this program that is worth compromising your safety for. Progress at the pace your body offers you, and trust what it tells you. I want to close by saying something that I believe every person watching this needs to hear. Your body has not failed you. It has not decided to give up. What has happened is that the muscles and neural pathways responsible for walking safely have been gradually and silently under-challenged, and they have responded to that lack of challenge the way all biological systems do. They have scaled back. They have become quiet. They are waiting to be asked to work again. These 5 exercises are that ask. They are the daily signal your body has been waiting for. Here is my challenge to you. Practice this routine for 7 consecutive mornings. Mark those 7 days on your calendar right now before you do anything else. Do not aim for perfection. Aim for consistency. And after those 7 days, I want you to come back to this video and leave a comment. Tell me your age. Tell me where you are watching from. And tell me what you noticed by day 3 or day 4. Was the first step out of bed different? Did a particular movement feel less effortful? Did you catch yourself lifting your foot in a way you had not in years? Your comment is not just feedback for me. It is a lifeline for another senior watching this video tomorrow morning who is afraid, who is uncertain, and who needs to hear from someone just like them that change is real and that it comes faster than they expect. Your words have the power to give someone else the courage to begin. If this video has given you something valuable today, please click the like button and share it with someone in your life who needs it. Subscribe to this channel so you receive our weekly clinical guides, and I will be here every week with practical, medically grounded guidance made specifically for you. Take care of how you move, because how you move determines how freely you live. I will see you in the next one.